Hey guys! Well, guess what? It's Friday again, so thanks for stopping by for some lame humor. I'm trying to upgrade my humor from moron status to imbecile status, so hopefully we'll see an improvement for this edition. Going to start out with a little bit of advice for the husbands. Husbands, never criticize your wife's choices. Remember, you are one of them. It's just a little tidbit to take with you. New announcement for everyone. There's a new restaurant chain that's being developed that'll be open soon. It's called the Karma Restaurants. And it's no menu. You don't actually order anything. You just sit down at a table and you get what you deserve. That's going to be called the Karma Restaurant. So what's going on in my life? Well, let's see. My dog actually broke into my games cabinet. And ate all of my Scrabble tiles. I wasn't real happy about that, but he's been leaving for the last couple of weeks small messages all around the house, so I'm not sure when that's going to end up on that. Got a new pen pal from Korea. We've been writing back and forth. I asked him how he likes living there, and he said, "I can't complain." Guess he couldn't. I got a little bored, so I went to the pet shop. And I asked the pet store owner if there was anything that would be entertaining for my friends. He said, "Well, I have a talking centipede." I thought, wow, I've never seen one of those or heard one of those. So it was $75. I bought this talking centipede, brought him home, and I thought it might be fun to go out to the club and have him meet some of my friends. So I opened the box and said, "Would you like to go up to the club and entertain a few of my friends?" I didn't hear anything, so didn't know if he was asleep or something. So I waited. About an hour later, I opened the box again and said, "Want to know if you'd like to join me and go to the club tonight? Might be fun." No answer. So now I'm getting a little bit frustrated. I'm wondering if I got maybe ripped off. So finally, I open the box again and I say, "I'm going to see my friends, and I just wanted to know if you'd like to come along." And then I hear him, he says, "I heard you the first time. I'm still putting on my shoes." So I got upset for nothing. He was just getting ready at that point. Some of you had asked about Ernie. Ernie's doing fine. He's still having issues, with his wife. They're trying to work things out. He told me, they were so happy for 20 years. And then they met. And then I guess things maybe changed a little bit after that point. And I've told you about Ernie's friend Mitch, who's, bless his heart, he's always getting in trouble. He went to the hospital, actually to the maternity ward to see his wife. She was having their first kid. And he was real happy until he found out that she was having triplets. And boy, he flew into a rage, ran out the door, grabbed his gun off his truck, and he said he was going to find those other two guys. I don't know how that worked out, if he was able to or not. But I was there, actually, and I was taking some flowers to someone at the maternity ward. And I was leaving, and I heard this woman shouting at the top of her lungs from one of the rooms there. She was saying, "I can't, I wouldn't, I won't, I don't." I mean, it was just blaring all over the hospital. So I ran over to the nurse's station and said, "Do you hear that? What's going on in there?" And she said, "Well, she's okay. She's just going through multiple contractions right now." And I think that joke deserves a moment of silence. That was pretty bad. So here are some really lame, just random things. A jumper cable walks into a bar and the bartender says, "Don't try to start anything here, buddy." A friend of mine wants to work in a mirror factory. Now, I wouldn't do that type of work, but he says that he really feels like he could see himself doing that. And I think, probably he could. Two snails were sitting on the side of the street getting ready to cross the highway. So the one snail says to the other, "Be careful, take care, watch out, because there's a bus coming in about an hour." So he had to kind of time his cross there. And what did the tennis shoe say to the baseball cap? "You go on ahead, I'll follow on foot." That was a brief conversation. And then we have the Three Bulls story. Now this is going out, you guys probably know I'm from Texas. And anyone that's in Texas or is from Texas probably knows the old story about the three bulls. So this is for all of our Texas friends out there. So there were these three bulls. They were on the farm, ranch, sitting there talking. They found out the rancher was going to bring in a new stud bull. And, the one older bull said, well, I've got 100 cow here with me. I'm not going to give up any of mine. And the second bull said, well, I've got 50 and he's sure not getting any of mine. And the young bull, he said, well, you guys have only let me have 10, so I'm definitely not giving up any of mine. So just about that time, the 18-wheeler pulls up, and it took 6 guys to get this huge bull off the truck, almost 5,000 pounds, and was not in a good disposition. So as he starts they bring this bull up to the pen where the other bulls are. The other bulls start backtracking a little bit. And the first bull says, well, I've got 100 to myself, so I've got plenty. It'd be a good sign of friendship to share some with this new bull that's coming in. The second bull says, yeah, I've really got more than I can handle. I'll be happy to give him a few of mine. And then about that time, the young bull, he grits his teeth and starts shaking his head and stomping the ground and moving around and snorting. And the older bulls say, hey, buddy, you might want to just go with the flow and give up some of your cows. It's nothing worth dying for. And the young bull said, heck, he can have all my cows. I just want to make sure he knows I'm a bull. So he had a little bit different thing that he was trying to take care of there. And before we get too far into the rest of the lame humor, I wanted to get serious for just a moment. Next story is really a heartfelt story for all of our fellow marketing and salespeople out there in the field that do a great job, that feel like that they're not only a professional, but that they really think of themselves more as an advisor, willing to help people no matter what the circumstance. Which takes us to the old story that came from a little town just east of Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was years ago, and a convict had escaped from their small town jail there and wandered off into the desert to be free. And after 2 days of being out in the desert and being totally dehydrated, he sees off in the distance what looks like a person and some water, a little pond. So he drags himself up there, and of course once he gets up there, he finds out that there's no pond. It was a mirage, but there is a very nicely dressed gentleman there, gray hair, with a smile on his face, and he drags himself up to the guy, and he's looking around, and the guy has nothing there except a chair and 2 tables with a lot of really nice looking colorful neckties on them. And so the convict says, I need water. Do you have any water? And the gentleman said, no, actually I drank all my water, but I do have some really nice neckties, and they're only $5. Would you like to buy a necktie? And the convict goes nuts. He says, are you crazy? Are you an idiot? Do I look like I need a necktie? I need water. And so, of course, the gentleman, first thing he says as trained is, well, I can certainly understand that. That would be Best Practices 101. I can certainly understand that, but there's no sense in being violent about it. In fact, I'm going to do everything I can to help you. If you will just go over that next ridge, you will see that at the bottom of the ridge there's a little cafe in a very tiny town with great food and all the ice water that you could want. So the guy takes off towards the cafe, and about 3 hours later, the gentleman noticed the convict crawling back almost on his hands and knees back to him at where he has his table there. And he comes back, he's almost dying of starvation and dehydration by this point, and he leans down and he says, are you okay? And the convict just looks up and he says, they wouldn't let me in without a tie. So, yeah, I know, it's horrible. But that goes out to all of our fellow professionals out there. So just a couple pieces of wisdom before I go. One is, and this you may want to remember and write this down, If you build a fire for a man, you'll keep him warm for one night. If you set a man on fire, he'll be warm for the rest of his life. That's kind of gets you right here when you think about it. And one thing that I'll leave you with before I go, when life gives you melons, you may be dyslexic. So thanks again for joining me, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and we'll see you soon. Take care.